Bluey and her friends are growing older and more mature with each passing season. But have you even imagined the amazing things that could happen once they all become teenagers?
Goodbye, childhood.
That's exactly what we might see if, in the future, a continuation of the show comes out, a sequel focused on Bluey's teenage life. If this series really happens, it's going to have a very different style. Nothing would be like what we've seen so far. The original show brought meaningful messages and some drama, but always used the kids' games as the backdrop for it all. But this sequel would focus almost completely on drama, since the teenage years are a time when we're all really sensitive. It's usually also the time when we experience our first crush, and that's exactly what will happen with Bluey, who would be about 14 or 15 years old and look just like we saw her in the ending of the camping episode. Her first crush would be Mackenzie, her best friend. That's a ship supported by tons of fans, and even the show's creator, Joe Brumm, has admitted he knows about it. In fact, there are episodes that hint they have a special bond that could turn into romance, like in Fruit Bat, where we see Bluey dreaming of flying like a bat and passing by Mackenzie's house just to see him sleeping. You usually only dream about someone who's really important to you. But to the poor Blue Pup's despair, she's not the only one who might end up falling for the Border Collie down the road. Coco also has a pretty big chance of crushing on him. In the circus episode, she insists on pretending to be Mackenzie's wife during a game, even though the Border Collie didn't like that one bit. And what if both Bluey and the Pink Poodle really fall in love with Mackenzie as teens? Well, judging by how the Border Collie reacted when Coco tried to marry him as a joke, it's possible he's actually not interested in her, so better take your chance, Bluey. But we believe she'll have another boyfriend before Mackenzie. Want to know who it is? Chill, because we're going to tell you all about him and lots of other things about Teen Bluey. So get in on this wave, a brand new Cinewave is starting. While the Blue Pup would be about 14 or 15 years old in the new show, Bingo would be around 12 or 13 since she's 2 years younger. She'd be hitting her teen years right then and would still act like a kid who loves to play, unlike her older sister who'd have mostly moved on from that. But Bingo would also have a hobby that would just keep getting bigger in her life. Drumming. A Bluey minisode shows the Red Healer playing the drums for the first time and developing a special interest in the instrument. We'd bet that this pup will even end up joining a rock band with some new and old friends. The members we already know would be Bingo's schoolmates, Chucky, Lucky's younger brother, Missy, and of course Leela, her best friend. Muffin Socks will still be close to their cousins, showing up in lots of episodes as usual. Muffin will still be short, chubby, and a bit cranky. She'll grow up a little, but not as much as the others. Socks, her younger sister, will actually end up taller than her, and that's gonna drive Muffin crazy. And where do you think she's going to dump all that fury? The answer is, on anyone who tries to mess with her. Yep, Muffin will be less wild at home but will get into fights at school whenever a bully tries to pick on her. In the end, she'll be the one with the reputation for being a bit of a bully herself, even though she still has a good heart. Socks, on the other hand, will keep becoming even more different from her sister. She turned into a pretty well-behaved little girl when she stopped acting like a real dog, but she'll get shy and have a hard time making friends at school, mostly because of bullying. Luckily, Muffin will be there to beat up anyone who tries to mess with her little sister. But in the end, that will only get them both in plenty of trouble. Wouldn't it be amazing to see a show where all of this happens? If you agree, drop a comment below with #teens.
Police!
Remember how we said that Bluey would have another boyfriend before falling for Mackenzie? Well, guess what? It's going to be Jeanluke, the Canadian Labrador she befriends in the camping episode. Well, that's what we think, but we're absolutely sure the two of them will at least meet again after Jeanluke went back to Canada. After all, that same episode ends with a future scene showing the two of them, already teenagers, seeing each other after so many years. That sweet scene isn't just a cute ending for the episode, but more like a clue that the Teen Bluey series will show what happens after that moment. After so many years, Jeanluke, who only spoke French back then, surely would have learned English by now, especially since he lives in Canada, where a lot of people speak English too. So there's nothing stopping him from staying in Australia. His parents like the country, so it wouldn't be surprising if they decided to move there. That means Bluey and Jeanluke will have all the time in the world to do friend stuff and eventually fall for each other, which is super easy now that they're teenagers with all those crazy hormones. Bluey's first romance will be with the Labrador, and they'll stay together for a few months before eventually breaking up. The reason for the breakup will probably be Jeanluke's nationality. His parents will want to go back to Canada for some reason, and he'll have no choice but to leave with them, splitting up from Bluey. She'll be really sad, but she'll learn that not all love lasts forever. It'll be some time after that when the Blue Pup will fall for Mackenzie, but that new romance will develop slowly throughout the series. Something important to think about when talking about this show is that if the old kids in Brisbane have become teenagers, then new kids must have been born, and we can be sure that that will happen in Bluey because the end of season 3 already confirmed that a character is pregnant. Brandy, Chili's sister. That baby would definitely be pretty grown up in the new series, probably around 7 or 8 years old. We think it will be a little girl who looks a lot like Bingo, unless she takes after her dad's breed, since we don't know if Brandy's husband is a red heeler or another breed. Two lovebirds who, without a doubt, will have one or more kids are Frisky and Rad, whose relationship kept growing throughout the original episodes until they got remarried in the episode The Sign. They both mentioned wanting to have kids, so there's absolutely nothing stopping them from making that dream come true. So it wouldn't be surprising to see them with a couple of kids, but we'll be pretty amazed if we see a certain someone having a baby. Chili, Bluey's mom. Yep, the blue pup is going to get a younger sibling. After all, her parents have already said they're still open to having another child, and originally the creators planned for the healers to have a baby from the start of the show. As Bluey and Bingo grow up, Chili and Bandit will have more free time since the girls won't be as interested in playing anymore, and when they do want to hang out, they'll probably do it with kids their own age. Adding up all these reasons, you can totally picture them having another baby and turning their attention to him. That could create even more conflict, with Bingo feeling jealous of the new baby because she's no longer the parents' favorite. Just like their daughters, Stripe and Trixie will still show up on the show, but not quite how we imagine. Unlike Bandit and Chili, who will stay together as they get older, Bluey's uncle is going to get divorced from his wife, Trixie. The original series already hinted that their relationship isn't all that healthy since they have a lot of arguments. We see them fighting about Muffin in the Facey Talk episode. Sure, the fight ends with them working it out, but then they show up having another heated argument in The Sign. The worst part is that one of their daughters even plays with two dolls and makes them fight too, like she's copying what she always sees at home. So it seems like it's only a matter of time before the couple has one last fight and one of them takes off their wedding ring. Stripe and Trixie will just realize it didn't work out and move on with their lives. But without hating each other or anything like that, they'll still keep in touch. Since they'll start living apart, their daughters will split their time between each parent's house. Of course, nothing's impossible, so there's still a chance we might see them getting back together and becoming a couple again as the series goes on. That would be really sweet. Another beautiful thing to see would be you clicking that subscribe button. Even better, because that way you'll never miss our daily videos.
Thank you!
Rusty has always been a super energetic and brave kid ever since he was little, but those traits are only going to grow with him. He'll become the most popular guy at school, mostly because he'll join the high school cricket team and be their best player. Rusty might even get a bit cocky from being surrounded by friends and people telling him he's the next big cricket star, and he kind of is, since the cricket episode has a future scene showing adult Rusty playing professionally. But none of that will make him stop being who he really is, a good guy who does everything he can to help others. He'll probably cross the line in one episode and make a mean joke about someone, but we're sure he'll realize what he's turning into and apologize afterward. Snickers, on the other hand, will go in the opposite direction from the Red Kelpie. He'll have already decided that he wants to become a reporter when he grows up, since he's been interested in that job ever since he was little, as shown in the episode K9 News. So Snickers is going to join a journalism club at school, but you know how teenagers are. They'll probably tease the poor guy for thinking that's a nerdy thing to do, and also because of his funny sausage-shaped body. Speaking of journalism, it's during the teen years that lots of people start thinking about college, and that will be Bluey's case too, especially since her friend Mia, who's 12 years old in the original show, will already be an adult and going to college. The problem is that Bluey won't have any clue what to major in, and she'll feel super lost and a little scared about the future. Bingo, on the other hand, won't even be interested in going to college. Since she's in a band, she thinks she'll become a rock star and get rich without ever needing a normal job. By the way, we've already talked a bunch of times about the possible jobs the two of them might have way in the future in our videos about a potential adult Bluey series, so just do a little digging on our channel and you'll find out what they might end up doing. Want to keep having fun? Then click on one of the two videos we left on your screen. Thanks, and see you next time!